Good evening, YouTube. Matt M. Roy back once again. Long time no see, right? Well, hopefully everybody has seen the vlog I uploaded earlier. That took a lot longer than I thought. I actually finished filming that around 1 today, and I started uploading it, and it literally took 4 hours. Not necessarily to upload. The upload went really smooth. It was the processing on YouTube's end that took forever. I don't know if that's because the internet's slow. Probably not. It's probably because so many people are uploading content to YouTube right now, that their servers are just bogged down because it has to actually process that video. But hopefully everybody's had a chance to see that vlog. So how's everybody doing on day whatever of this quarantine? I'm not even keeping track anymore. I mean, this is Monday, April 20th, and it feels like I've been inside the house forever. Now, that's not 100% true. I do go out. We do have to still shop. Um, but I'm really waiting for those thrift stores to open back up. I'm working from home and going nuts. Sam, he said it. I mean, you said it, my friend. This is just going crazy. Now, I did read the Vegan Athlete. I'm glad you're here, by the way. Said that I just want to let you know that I don't get your notifications for your channel anymore. It says your channel is for kids. Now, you're not the first one that said that, but I'm not sure why that is. I've double and triple checked this, and I'm in that setting right now where it says, do you want to set your channel to be made for kids? And mine is set to no. Set this channel as not made for kids. I never upload content that's made for kids. So I don't know what's going on with that. The only thing I can guess, it must be an issue on YouTube's end because my channel is most definitely not set to made for kids. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know. Put it in the comments section. Georgia can open gyms, can't open Friday for sure. What else? But I think next Friday restaurants can open. She can't open gyms. I'm surprised they can open the gyms because if you have ever been in any kind of gym, you know that those machines are really close together. So I'm guessing they're going to have to like open one machine and then keep the next one closed and open the next one so people can still social distance, because in every gym that I've ever been in, I mean, those machines are pushed together like sardines in a can. Just finished playing tennis, getting some exercise. Excellent, excellent. And wanted to kind of interject here real quick. I have been doing decent on my lifestyle change. I know a lot of you are here for that. The Vegan Athlete is here. I know you want to know probably how I'm doing. I actually had to buy a new scale because the scale that I've been using was just done. I mean, it would weigh me one weight, and then a minute later, it would weigh me 3 or 4 pounds heavier. And then if I tried another minute later, it would be 3 or 4 pounds lighter. So I finally got a new scale in basically this morning, but I'd already eaten breakfast, so I didn't want to weigh myself. I'm going to try and do that tomorrow morning. Hopefully get a vlog in with that. If not, I'll just try to upload it and maybe just like a Facebook post and Instagram. As far as I can tell, I'm sitting right around 200 to 202 pounds. It just depends on the day. So that was my ultimate goal. I do not really need to get below 200. It's not really even safe for me. So as long as I can stay there, I'll be happy. And honestly, I have actually been eating some garbage recently. We went to Walmart a few days ago, probably closer to a week now, and they had the after Easter candy, and I bought a whole bunch of Reese's chocolate eggs, like the big eggs, and then we got some of the small individual ones. But what I do is I dole them out in a way that I don't overdo it. So I allow myself to have two of the small eggs. That's 340 calories. And I do that daily, and it works out. I don't gain weight that way. And the idea is you want to have everything in moderation. And I've talked a lot about this in the past, but what I do is I count how many calories I'm putting in my body each day, and then I figure out how much I have to work off so that I'm always running a deficit. In this case, I ingested a total of 2,000 calories today. So that means if I want to lose weight, I need to burn more than 2,000 calories. And as of right now, I've done 18,000 steps and I'm sitting at about 3,500 calories burned. So I'm running a 1,500 calorie deficit. So I theoretically should be losing weight. Now, here's a big caveat to that. If you are doing this and you're religiously doing it, you're not cheating, you're not binge eating, you know exactly how many calories you're putting in your body and how many you're burning off. If you're doing this every day, but you don't see the scale going down, then chances are you're close to your goal weight or at your goal weight. So that's a good thing. I mean, that'll tell you right then and there that, hey, maybe you need to stop this and just try to maintain a little bit. Rick Lakes, Matt, how was the weather? We have rain and 25-mile-per-hour winds. Sounds like what we had earlier today. The sun actually just came out for the first time today, right around 5:30, about a half an hour before I started this. I was really hoping to get a bike ride in today. I really wanted to get a bike ride in, but I don't think it's going to be possible. Even though it's nice. I might try to get a nighttime ride, and it all depends on how long I decide to do this tonight. Robert Jones is here. Did I miss anybody else? World Health Organization warning. I'm trying not to follow all this. I'll be honest with you. I actually found I don't know what happened to it. I had it up here, but anyway, I found an article about this new stimulus package, and there's a piece of legislature in there that really bothers me. Basically, what it is, it's a stimulus payment to millionaires, basically people that make over $1 million, or people that are worth over $1 million. They're going to be getting a large stimulus check, even greater than what the average Joe got. And I don't pretend to understand all this. I'm not an economics expert, but the idea is the reason they're getting it is most of these people own businesses, and it's like a stimulus to stimulate their business. But the problem is the people that are getting it are acting as sole proprietorships. In other words, some of the people that are getting it, it's not even really a business, it's one person. So that in of itself kind of bothers me. And again, I'm not going to go into depth about this because I don't know all the ins and outs. I haven't actually read this bill. But that's a piece of legislature that needs to be removed, and removed, in my opinion. Yeah, there are those arguments that will say, yeah, the reason they're doing this is so we can all get back to work, and these people can afford to employ the blue collar workers and the average Joes like us. But it's not going to help right now because the country's still closed. I mean, what are we going to do? The country's going to be closed for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, according to the latest news. Vegan athlete goes, I actually don't use a scale, don't own a scale, just go by how my clothes fit. And that's a great indicator. I mean, you can actually go by the way your clothes fit, and here's the thing. When you're working out like I am on a daily basis, I have my 15-pound weights. I do them 4 or 5 times a day, sometimes more. I'm gaining muscle over fat, and muscle weighs more than fat. So there are times that the scale will actually go up, and my body mass index, or actually to be more precise, my body fat count will go down. So that is true. There are times that can't necessarily go by the scale. But the reason I bought this particular scale, and you'll see it more in a future vlog, is not only does it tell your weight, but it tells your BMI and your body fat count. And forgive me, I can't think of the name of what they call it off the top of my head, but basically it'll tell you your body fat ratio. In other words, how much fat you have to lean muscle mass. So in a way, it's going to help me out there. Now, I know from my previous trip to Harris Teeter that as of about a month ago, before all this craziness started, I used their machine there, and I had about 87% or 87.2% lean muscle mass. So that means my body fat was somewhere around, what would that make it, 10, 11, 12, about 12.6 to 12.8%. So that's very good. Anything under, for a guy, I think anything under 18% is good, and anything under 24% for a woman or a female is good. So when you start getting towards the 10% body fat range, that's pretty much what athletes are. And then when you start getting towards like the 19, 20%, then that's when you need to kind of really change your diet and maybe start eating things that are a little bit less fatty. Sam Heron, Matt, do you take supplements? I recently started taking fish oil capsules. I do. I don't take a lot. I right now I'm doing the apple cider vinegar tablets because that actually helps you digest your food and it helps you burn off calories. And I'm also taking collagen, and that's just basically because I still have some saggy skin, especially around the midsection from my previous lifestyle. And collagen helps firm up that loose skin. I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit so I can kind of hear in the background that I'm clipping. Turn this up a little bit. Robert Jones, my concern is how will the economy be after all of this? You're not the only one. I already know of several local establishments, mostly restaurants, that will not be opening after this because they just can't afford to. They owe back rent, which, in my opinion, should be forgiven at this point. I mean, through no fault of their own, people are being put in horrendous situations right now. And I believe there's even one second-hand store that may not be opening up where I am. And I'm not calling it a thrift store because it's not really a thrift store. They're more of a second-hand store. They don't really support a specific charity. But that being said, it's not just the small businesses. I mean, look at the giant retail establishments. So we're talking about J.C. Penney, Macy's, even places like Best Buy are hurting because, yes, they are open. Best Buy is fortunate that they are able to stay open, whereas J.C. Penney and Macy's and all these clothing stores aren't. Best Buy is hurting because they're only open for online orders. And the only way you can buy something from Best Buy now is to order it online, and you basically drive up to the front and they bring it out to you. They have a tent set up. You're not even allowed to go into the store. So that's hurting Best Buy because people aren't able to window shop. Let's face it, going into Best Buy, half the fun is going in there and finding something that you really didn't want in the first place and buying it. And they really rely on that to make money. So I honestly don't know. Again, I don't protest to be an economist or into economics specifically, but I will tell you it could take years and sadly even decades for the economy to rebound. The latest news, and this is a big one, is the price of oil. The price of oil this morning opened up at $15.49 a barrel. And that is crazy low. And by the time trading was over, oil was actually minus. It was minus $5.49 the last time I checked. That means that if you go to the gas station, they have to pay you to take the gas. No, not really, but you get the idea. Oil is running at a negative now. So the oil companies aren't making any money. And the reason behind this, it's very simple. People are having to stay at home. They're not driving as much, but yet we were still producing all the oil that we were before all this started. So it started to pile up and pile up. And I've talked about this before. It's the basis of economics, supply and demand. You have a bulk of supply and demand is down, then price plummets. And then when the opposite happens, you don't have a lot of supply and demand is high, the price goes way up. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right now, thankfully, OPEC and some of the other organizations have pretty much ceased production of crude oil, or at the very least, they've drastically reduced. The last I heard is they've pretty much ceased producing it because nobody needs it at the moment. Please don't forget to click that like button. I'm always going to ask. That's all I ask of you guys. I don't necessarily ask for super chats, although those are appreciated too. But at the very least, if you're enjoying this content that I'm putting out, please take a second and click that like button for me. I am wearing my Bruins shirt, my old school's football team shirt. I love the fact that I can wear this. This is actually a large shirt. You know, for the first time in my life, I'm actually able to wear a size large and even in some cases a medium, and I'm hoping to stay that way. Love it. New Zealand is shifting from alert level 4 to 3. From next week, we will be able to use drive-throughs at fast food places. Wow, we've actually been able to do that for quite a while. As a matter of fact, Starbucks, McDonald's, Burger King, all of those have pretty much been open. They never closed. Very interesting how different countries are handling this this crisis, or this situation, I should say. Yeah, lowering restrictions is very important, and the way they're doing that, the way they're going about it, is actually very smart. Believe it or not, there are some states that never shut down. More specifically, like in the Midwest, I think Wyoming, Montana, parts of Montana, they never shut down because they didn't have enough confirmed cases to really warrant it. But right now, what they're doing is they're doing it in stages, and they're starting to open up states that have very little to no new cases. And they're just going to continue to do that until they can open up the whole country again. What they're doing is very smart, but we still have to be very cautious because there is a good chance that we're going to have a second wave of this. And now, initially they thought that this acted like the chicken pox, and once you have an immunity, that's it. You can't get it again. But now they're finding that's not true. People are getting it 2, 3, or 4 times. So that in of itself is very scary. And I don't mean to frighten people here, but truth kind of trumps fear, if you will. And this is a very scary situation. This is a very scary man-made virus, and I am convinced now that this is and was a man-made virus. In that lab, that virology lab in Wuhan, there is too much evidence to that being the case, and this not being a naturally occurring phenomenon. So it is what it is, folks. For now, this is going to be our new normal, and it is kind of driving me crazy. Honestly, I want to get back out there, but we need to do the right thing. I hear in parts in Africa they're not even recording cases. That's not surprising. I mean, you have to have enough infrastructure for that even to be possible. There are parts of Africa where they can't even record cases of malaria and things like that. That's very interesting. I don't want to speculate on when the worst is, or if it has happened, or when it'll happen, because again, I'm not an expert here. But I will say that I think you might be right in certain areas. I think we've seen the peak of this in like the major first world countries, so the U.S., Japan, China, Europe, parts of Europe. But in the smaller countries, it's going to take longer for them to reach their epicenter. Oh, one thing, I don't mean to arbitrarily change topics. I know I do that a lot on this channel, but one thing I will tell you that has been helping me a lot on my lifestyle change, especially because I've been intermittent fasting. There are times at night that I will have to have something, like I could just feel my blood sugar dipping down and I really need to have something, but I don't necessarily want to fully break the fast and eat some food. That's when I've been turning to these. Now I keep 2 of these in my room just in case. And these are those nutritional shakes. The one here in my left hand is the better of the 2, in my opinion. This is the Slim Fast equivalent. This has 180 calories. The one on my right hand is the Boost equivalent, both Walmart Equate brands, and this one has 220 calories. These are a good option if you just in the middle of the night, you're waking up and you feel like your blood sugar is dipping, if you get a little hypoglycemic like I do, this will increase your blood sugar just enough. They have 15 grams of sugar in the Boost equivalent and 19 in the Slim Fast one. But also has a lot of protein. So just remember, if you're doing the intermittent fasting like I've been, you want to make sure you do have something, because if your body's not used to going without, then you can get that low blood sugar and it can get to dangerous levels. So just keep this by you at night just in case. And it's happened to me, it's happened to my father a few times. And intermittent fasting is definitely a good idea, especially during this time, because there is evidence out there that intermittent fasting will increase your immune response. In other words, it boosts your immunity. So now more than ever, if you've been thinking about it, it's a great time to start, folks. And basically, all you got to do, the easiest way to start is to do the 18-6, which is basically 18 hours fasting, 6 hours eating. And that's what I did today. So what did I do? I stopped eating yesterday at noon, and I ate this morning around. Actually, I didn't get up till about 7:30, so I ate my breakfast around 8. So it wound up being more like 19 hours. But if you do that and start doing that, I can almost guarantee you weight loss almost immediately. And the good part is, it's slow weight loss, not the drastic, fast weight loss you get with a lot of these crash diets. And that is the best way to do it, because the slower you lose the weight, the better chance you have of keeping it off long term and ideally forever. So we got 20 watchers, 9 likes. Help me out here, folks. Come on, give me some likes. Click that like button. Forgot this was 6 p.m. Just leaving work, Eric says. That's cool. That's cool. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got a lot of heartburn right now. I think it might have been the Reese's, but I made the 15 bean soup the other day, and yeah, that's good, but that is very, very acidic. And believe it or not, when you talk about protein, now a lot of people don't necessarily like eating a lot of high protein foods. Like I know people out there that are carbaholics. They got to have their carbs. They're not necessarily the kind of person that would go to McDonald's and just order a Big Mac without the bun, which is ideally the way you'd want to do it if you were going low carb. There are a lot of other sources of protein in carbohydrates. Number one that I go to every morning is oatmeal. Do you know that one serving of oatmeal contains 7 grams of protein? That's right, folks, 7 grams of protein. I mean, who knew, right? So if you combine that with fruits, like I always add mango, strawberry, blueberry. I add a lot of different fruits into my oatmeal. And yeah, I do sweeten it up with syrup. You can leave that out if you want, but I like my stuff sweet. You're actually getting a great balanced breakfast. So not only are you getting your carbohydrates, you're getting your proteins, you're getting your fat, because when you cook steel cut oatmeal and most oatmeals, you add something like oil or butter to it, you got your fats right there. So you're actually getting a perfectly balanced breakfast just eating that bowl of oatmeal. And I'll usually pair it with coffee, which I put half and half and a little bit of sweetener in, though instead of using the cane sugar or the white granulated sugar, I've actually switched to coconut sugar, which is even better for you. So if you want me to do more of these health related live streams or vlogs, go ahead and let me know. A lot of you have said that you're very interested in seeing more of that kind of content from me, and I really do want to film some more cooking and health related vlogs. I'm going to try to convince Dad to maybe watch TV upstairs so I can do that. But ideally, once all this is over, I'd really like to get my own place. That way I'd have a free kitchen and be able to experiment with a lot more healthy food options and bring you guys and gals along with me. Johnny Turbo, after seeing your 15 or your bean soup, it makes me think of Gundry's work. Gundry's work. I think you've been surprised, and it may change the way you are eating. Not surprised you're having a little heartburn. Gundry's, I hope I pronounce it at work, is all about lectins. I'll have to look that one up. Um, yeah, when you talk about, and a lot of people always make jokes about it. I mean, I remember the old Nick show, "Salute Your Shorts," and they would sing the song "Beans, Beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you," and you can finish the rest of that. But yeah, anything that's like a legume, if you will, is very, very gassy. And that's fine. There are ways around that. I wouldn't say not to eat it, but you can take things like Beano or Tums. Anything like that will help circumvent the gassy part. And believe it or not, the gassy part just shows you that it's good for your body. It's pushing the food through. So yeah, by all means, toot away. Uncle Corky says, I love beans and bean soup. Oh, so do I. And not just 15 bean soup. I also like northern bean or navy bean soup. I remember getting that in Canada when I used to visit Canada as a kid, because I've said this a few times before. My father is French Canadian. He used to spend a lot of my summers as a child in Quebec. And we used to get, and it wasn't always the northern bean. What they actually had there was like a split pea soup, which was actually not peas at all. It was made with a yellow bean, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but I remember getting it and eating that, and oh, it was so good, folks. I'm telling you. Uh, Eating healthy can be so tasty. You just have to know how to cook the food, and you have to know what foods to eat. It amazes me that as a society, we would rather go to the drive-through, McDonald's, Burger King, and get a double quarter pounder or a McDLT back in the day. And that stuff is just so bad for you. And you can get healthy food like this, and in my opinion, it tastes just as good. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You like asparagus? Yes, I do. But fun fact, I am also one of those few people that can smell it in my pee the next day. Look it up. Look it up. Asparagus, to a small minority of the population, can actually smell the byproduct of the asparagus in the pee. It's actually, that's why it's good for you. It helps cleanse your renal system. And I just have to hold my nose next morning. When in the morning, I'll be holding myself and I'll go like this. I'm like, oh, I can't stand the smell. It's so bad. Luckily, it only lasts like one day. Indian takeaway. Okay, so I know right there that means you got to be somewhere in the UK. Um, I know it's very popular Indian food over there. I am not a huge fan of Indian food. The only stuff I've ever had is like curry chicken, Indian curry chicken, and I do like that, but there really aren't a lot of good Indian takeouts here or takeaways. The only place I've ever had it was at Old Country Buffet, which is they're mostly closed now, but it was like an American buffet similar to Golden Corral. And they used to have a very good Indian curry chicken that was out of this world. And I used to really like that. Um, I prefer things more. If I had to choose like my perfect comfort food, which I really don't eat a lot anymore, would be something like sweet and sour chicken. We like a lot of Chinese food here in the States. Used to love sweet and sour chicken. I actually haven't had sweet and sour chicken in probably a year or two. I'll probably have it at some point, but it's really not that good for you. Consequently, lately we've been getting a lot of Thai food. We go to our local Thai restaurant, and we've been taking it out because they are still open, but only for takeout. And my mom likes to get the pad thai, which is a dish made with rice, noodles, chicken, and vegetables. I used to get that, but I've actually switched. I like to get what they call the jasmine fried rice. It's a fried rice with essence of jasmine, which is it's basically a spice. And I get it with chicken and the mixed vegetables, and I put on that rooster sauce, which is the really spicy Asian sauce. A lot of Vietnamese dishes have it, and it's really, really good. Generally, the vegetables vary, but usually it's green beans, the flat pea pods, baby corn, and broccoli is generally what my particular Thai restaurant puts in. Johnny Turbo, you really have to go an Indian buffet to taste everything. There is such a diverse mix of flavors and spicy dishes. It's hard to choose one thing off the menu. Might do that in the future. We do have one place around here called Rajput. They have several locations, but the one that's closest to my house actually does have a buffet. I've never been. My father went once and wasn't crazy about it, so I probably have to go with a friend of mine. I don't know about you out there, but I'm one of those people that does not like to go to restaurants alone. I just feel awkward. So the only way I'll go out and eat is if somebody else is there with me. So I'll have to call up one of my friends and maybe see if they want to do that one day. And I'll just give you guys an opinion about it. I probably won't film because around here, places like that, it's just too busy. I might take like a few snapshots and put them up on Instagram, but that's usually about it. Uncle Corky, I love good old-fashioned beef and broccoli for Chinese food. Oh, you're making my mouth water. I remember back in the day when I could eat beef and broccoli. And another one of my favorites was pepper steak and onions. Unfortunately, I still can't eat beef. I'm going to try in the future to maybe get my body acclimated to beef again. I used to eat beef all the time, but when we went and started our lifestyle change, I cut it out basically for 6 months to try to lose the weight. And when I went back and tried to eat it again, my body rejected it. And ever since then, so there's been about 3 years, I've not been able to eat beef. I even went a few months ago when I was in upstate New York working that temporary job. I went to a local Italian restaurant. And I went there and got their buffet. And on the buffet, they had it was like a spaghetti with marinara sauce. And apparently there was beef in it. It was so little I couldn't even tell at first. But then I saw little specks and I'm like, oh, well, I'm already eating it, so I might as well just eat it. And I probably had a total of maybe a third of an ounce of beef, maybe less than that. And do you know that I paid the price for that eating it that night? I mean, my bowels were just going nuts. So I don't know. I'm gonna try in the future to get myself eating beef again, but I just don't know if my body will accept it. George Blakely III, one of my favorite Chinese food is orange chicken. I remember orange chicken. Haven't had it for a while. The last time I had it was the Bourbon Street Grill that we used to have in Chesapeake Square Mall, right near where I live. Had the best orange chicken I'd ever had. And it was made with fresh orange. They actually made it there. You could actually see them squeezing the orange in there and sauteing it. And ever since that closed, I've never been able to find orange chicken that good. I might be able to go to our local Chinese takeout called, what's the name of it? Well, there's two of them. We have number one Chinese, which is closest to my house, and that one's kind of it's hit and miss. And my mind just went blank. Asian Garden. Asian Garden is the other one, and they'd probably do a better job. So we'll have to see what happens. Interesting story. There was another one locally to us called Panda Express, and they were pretty good too. And unfortunately, they changed owners. And what happened was, I guess the new owner didn't want to spend all the money to put a new sign, so they changed it from Panda to Wanda Express. So they only changed the one letter. I thought that was hilarious. That's weird. Somebody was calling me in one ring. Let's see what happened there. Don't recognize the number. Hopefully they'll leave a message. I've had a lot of that recently. Local numbers too. People calling me, ringing once and then hanging up. It must be a wrong number or something. So hopefully everybody's doing really well. I think we've had a great turnout at this stream. I think we had a total of 20 people here at once, which is actually really good for one of my streams. I know I don't usually get a huge turnout here, and hopefully, once the thrift stores open up, we'll be able to do a lot more of these thrift store hauls. And yes, I did remember the water this time. That's my biggest problem. That's why I can't do extra long live streams, because my mouth gets dry and I can't talk anymore. Hand sanitizer. It's one thing I want to talk about. A lot of people have been saying to me that the hand sanitizer from Dollar Tree is subpar. In other words, it's not good enough to kill the current situation. Well, I will tell you that that is not true, because looking it up online, you want to have ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is what is the antiseptic and will kill the germs. And ideally, you want it to be anywhere between 40% to 40% to 90% ethyl alcohol. And the one from Dollar Tree, if you look right here, I don't know if you can read it, contains 70%. You can see it right up there in the corner. So now I should let it sit there for a minute, but you can see it right there. So yes, this is perfectly acceptable. If you can find it at your Dollar Tree, make sure you buy some, because for 8 fluid ounces for $1 is a great deal, especially when the price gougers are trying to sell the same size ones online for $10 to $20 each. And even the ones I've seen online recently are their brand. So apparently what people are doing on eBay is they're going to Dollar Tree, buying them up, and then trying to flip them on eBay for ridiculous profits. Now, I don't ever recommend you trying to do that, because eBay will remove your account and ban you, because that is not right. In this current situation, you want to be fair to people. Now, okay, I could see that if you were going to the store and somehow, you were able to maybe buy a few boxes of this, you shouldn't be doing that in the first place. But theoretically, if you did, bought them for $1, went home and maybe sold them on Facebook Marketplace for $2 a piece, so in effect doubling your money, then I guess you can make a argument for that. But people that are trying to buy these and sell them individually, mind you, not by the case, individually on eBay for $10 to $20 a piece, shame on you, because that is just price gouging at the worst possible time for people. Never should that ever happen. I need to take a break, folks. I tell you, this time of night I start getting silly, but you know what? I hope my point came across there. Unconscionable, absolutely. Does regular soap work? Yes, if you do it properly. And I actually learned this from a physician, but basically the way you're supposed to use soap, and not only in times like this, but any time to kill all germs, is you want to take your bar of soap, okay? You want to turn your faucet on with your elbow or with this part of your wrist. You lather up underneath that sink for 30 seconds. Well, no, I'm sorry. You lather up, and then you go ahead and do that for 30 seconds, going like this with the bar of soap. Put the bar of soap down. You want to go ahead and underneath the faucet, rinse off for about another 20 to 30 seconds. And then you want to go ahead and turn off the sink. Same way. You use your elbow to do it. And if you can't do that, you just use like this part of your wrist, and then just wipe your hands. So in and of effect, you're never touching the faucet. That is the proper way to do it. Now, do I do that every time? No, of course not. I'd be wasting tons of water if I did. But if you're in a medical institution and you're worried about spreading the germ to, say, somebody who is immunocompromised, then that is the proper way to do it. Yes, drying your hands, that's absolutely right. Drying your hands fully is really important. And they tell you not to use those automatic blow dryers that you find in the changing rooms, because all they do is blow germs around. They've done studies, and those things are germ hogs. I mean, those are just breeding grounds for germs. Even the Dyson ones where you put your hands in and it blows them clean in like 10 seconds, to me, those are even worse, because there's literally about that much room between each side of the blower, and I could see germs going on your hands that much quicker. Ideally, you want to use paper towels. That's about the only right way to do it. Let me see who's trying to get a hold of me. It seems like somebody sent me a Facebook message here. let me send this out real quick. I can't type right now. I guess I'm too tired. Before. I'm not typing before, I'm typing before. BEFROE backwards. I'm telling you, that's my dyslexia, folks. That's something that really kept me back in school, and I didn't realize it until later on in life. But yeah, I can be dyslexic. So when I read words or sentences, sometimes the letters get kind of jumbled up in there. Awesome computers. How do you fix a computer with no display output if the RAM, CPU, was it the RAM, CPU, GPU, and PSU are all tested and working? Okay. So you don't have any display, and you're saying the CPU, the GPU, the power supply, all that is working fine, and the RAM. What I would do in that case is try an alternate video card if you can. If you have another graphics card, take it out, put it in there, see if that gets you a display. If not, try using the onboard graphics card. You're telling me that the RAM, the CPU, the GPU, and the PSU are all tested and working. Now, here's the caveat to that. I will bet you that the problem could still be the GPU, but for some reason it's not working in that computer. I've had instances where I've had the same video card, mind you, the same video card work perfectly in one computer, but not in another. And that can be down to incompatibilities in the motherboard, more specifically in the PCI Express X16 slot. But the basis for any troubleshooting, especially with a desktop, is strip it down to bare bones. So basically all you want hooked up to that is the CPU, the memory, and the power supply. Take away all other peripherals and of course the GPU if you don't have built-in graphics. And then go ahead and plug it in and try working from there. If it powers up and posts at that point, then what you do is you add a component in one at a time. And as soon as it doesn't post again, that's the component that's the failure point. So that's the way you want to do any type of diagnostic. All right, that's the proper way to do your diagnostics. Other than that, I'm not sure. I'd have to actually see the computer. That's it. That's troubleshooting. Bring it down to the least possible failure point. That's the easiest way to do it. That's great. I'm glad everybody else is able to interject here, because thinking on the fly is not necessarily one of my strong suits. So if I miss something, you can stick it in the comments. Stricted bare, just the CPU, one RAM stick, and the iGPU, the integrated GPU. If that's the case, and you're asking me just to guess here, I would say it's a bad motherboard then. That's about the only other thing it could be. Maybe change the CMOS battery. I've actually seen it to where a bad CMOS battery will prevent a computer from posting. It's not common, it's rare, but it does happen. What are we at? 44 minutes, 11 likes, 19 watchers. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Click that like button. Make sure you do that. That helps put my videos a little bit higher on the YouTube algorithms. I have some very interesting videos coming, by the way. I want to do some urban exploring. I have actively been, well, I shouldn't say I've been looking, I'm thinking about going to different locations out there. How many of you would like to see me do some urbexing? I'm not a crazy person. Like, I'm not going to go into places where everything's posted, but if I find some houses and things on the side of the road that are abandoned, I think they're safe enough to go in and look at. I'm totally up for doing that once the weather gets nicer, and that's something I can actually do now, even given the current situation. Have you been doing any investing in these times, or do you feel like investing in yourself and your business, your of best course? I've never been one to do the stock market. I've always been fearful. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't have the kind of money that it would take to really make a killing in the stock market or the knowledge. However, yes, I've definitely been investing in my business. You can see in the corner right there, I have computers, I have product right now, and I'm actively thinking about buying more towers from the same person, or I say the same business, but right now I'm not really selling anything because of the current situation. So until I make some more sales, I'm very reluctant to shell out any more capital or any more money. That being said, I almost think that another stimulus check is inevitable. I'm sure by now most of you that qualify got your $1,200 stimulus check, which is really more of a tax rebate. But at this point, now that they're looking to go 3-4 more weeks out, I think another check is going to be inevitable. Now, do I think it's going to be a $2,000 check like the Democrats want? I don't think so. I think more realistically, it's going to be maybe another $1,200, maybe $1,400, $1,600, somewhere around there. The bill that's being proposed by the Democrats is to actually have $2,000 a month for people to qualify, and even more people are going to qualify for it now, apparently, for about 6 months. So theoretically, was it 1, 2, 3, 4? You could get, what is that? Maybe up to like 10 grand, honestly. But don't think that this is actually going to happen. I think there's very little chance that it is going to happen, but it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to be for that long. I don't think it's going to be that much, but I do personally think that another stimulus payment to the general public, aka Joe Sixpack, is definitely possible, and it's going to be needed because they can't expect to keep the country closed for as long as they have and people to be able to survive. It's just not possible, folks. Yeah, that's why I am not, like, if you guys used to watch Adam the Woo, he used to go into trespass. He would trespass on properties, go to places like that. I will not do that. I am very unlucky. I'd be the one to get caught, mainly probably because my voice is too loud. I'm always talking when I shouldn't be. Doy, right? Boy, I can feel my blood sugar dipping. I may need to dip into another one of these shakes tonight, although I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be really good because I've counted my calories for the day, and I wasn't able to get a bike ride in. And that's something that I try to do religiously every day. I try to get at least a 3 or 4 mile bike ride in. Ideally, I'd like to get my usual 8 to 10 mile bike ride in, but with the way the weather's been very rainy, very windy, just really hasn't been possible. All right, folks, I am going to end it here. We're going to be a little short of the hour, but I am definitely getting very tired. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats or anything like that. Not this time. Thank you all for coming. Please continue to like and subscribe. Stay safe out there. Remember, it's going to get better, folks. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.